Hello, hello. I'm Strider, your host here at Author in the Headlights, and I want to thank you for joining us. And as always, if you haven't yet subscribed, if you wouldn't mind doing that, you won't miss a single one of our really exciting and informative episodes. And this morning we've got Gail Hulnick. Good morning, Gail.
Good morning, Strider. Thanks so much for doing this with me.
Hey, absolutely. And I haven't seen you for a couple of weeks, my goodness, since the Chanticleer conference. How did that go for you?
Very well. It was the first one I've attended, and really was a great experience. Lots of really good information and education during the sessions, and then they do a big, as you well know, they do a big banquet on the Saturday night where they give out
Here,
the
here.
awards for the various books, and that was really enjoyable too. We met some wonderful people.
It is really cool. And just for those of them that know, if you sit at my table, virtually every person every year wins. So, you just,
You have a
it's
good
true.
luck table.
It is a
Uh-huh.
good luck table. And yeah, I'll be back next year too, of course. Now, to get down to your work. Now, you do some interesting things. You've got mysteries, you've got travel books, travelogues, I suppose, close to, and other things. Um, you've got a couple of different series going on. Let's start with media mysteries. How did you come into that, and what's that about?
Okay, well, that's the one I started with actually, so that is a good choice. It was 10 years ago, I guess, in 2015, and I had been studying writing and writing things and putting them in my drawer for a long time, and decided that it was time after reading all those books and taking all those classes and joining all those groups to actually bring something out. So, and I had actually been prior to 2015, I'd been through the process of traditional publishing. And I had pitched agents and I had queried publishers, and I actually had three contracts ready to go at various points, and none of it ever panned out. So I decided in
Oh.
2015 I was going to bring out my own. Yes, I know it was very painful along the way. It was quite a learning process. After all of that, I thought, I kind of would like to try doing it this myself. I'd heard an awful lot about indie publishing, and I thought, I think I will try doing this myself. So I brought out the first of the media mysteries. And my concept there, my idea was that, and we still do to this day, we see an awful lot of legal thrillers, we see medical dramas, we
Mhm.
see police procedurals. And I come from a media background as a broadcast journalist, and where are the newsroom books? So I thought I will write one that's centered on the media. So the first one is about television.
So
That's
the
oh
the
sure,
first one is the lion's share of the airtime, and that, of course,
yes.
really airtime. You got to figure there where that's going. A
Uh-huh.
Bird in the Sand. How does that title connect up with the story then?
There's a movie being made in Savannah. So I lived in Savannah, Georgia for 5 years. And while there became aware of what a movie center it is, there's a lot of films done on location there. And almost all of them want to use Tybee Island, Tybee Beach. And the beach scenes are, in fact, when they did the remake of Baywatch, that old TV series, they did
Oh,
it in
I know
Savannah and they
Baywatch.
used Tybee Beach. And so there's sand everywhere. And sand is a sort of a thing that goes with the movies in
Got it.
Savannah.
Bird in the Sand. What
And
about
so a bird
Sleeping
in the
Dogs
sand.
Lie? Is that lying down or is that like truth and not truth?
A truth and not true. And then the fourth one, Kangaroo Court, which and you'll notice the animal theme. I tend
Yep.
to I tend to be a bit, I don't know if it's OCD or what
I
it is,
like
but
that.
get the theme going. Yeah. Well, one of my heroes is Sue Grafton, who wrote the mysteries. A is for alibi and B is
Hmm,
for et
hmm.
cetera, and so on.
You
So
bet.
I thought I need some kind of running theme through these. I know I'll do animals. That's what it should be.
It's good.
So the fourth one is Kangaroo Court, and Kangaroo Court is social media, and it's set in California. And it's not about a murder exactly, but it's about someone whose reputation is being murdered, quote unquote, air quotes, online. And my hero, Shalane Montgomery, goes to work trying to help him clear his name. So that was the fourth one. And then the fifth is Monkey Me, Monkey You.
Monkey Me, Monkey You. Now that's an interesting title. I like it.
Again, a play on monkey see, monkey do.
Hmm.
And it's about a billionaire business person man who decides he wants to do his autobiography and tell the secrets of his family, which a lot of his family members don't want told. And he decides that he wants the title to be Monkey Me, Monkey You. And he has all kinds of philosophies and that about how he manipulates people and how he gets people to do what they want him to do and so on. So that he kind of makes that link with the title early on in the book. And then the last one, the one that just came out last October, is called Red Herrings Radio. And it's all about a woman who is in her 70s and living in Florida who gets a mysterious package through the mail that flashes her back to her time in the 60s when she was a radio reporter, researcher. Her very first job, she's in her early 20s, and there's a crime that happens. This is in Toronto, this one is set, happens and is never solved. And so the early part of the book is all about the 60s and what she does to try to solve it.
Your
Those are the media mysteries.
media mystery series. Then you kicked off to something different. You went to the resorting collection.
Yes, and
Resorting, I
yes,
like that too.
right.
Yeah.
And everyone is set in a resort, which is a place I like to go, which is always fun to go and do the research if you can. If I can't, then I use Google Earth and I, do it with online information and books and so on. But if you can justify it, it's great to do that. Resorting to Murder was the first one, and that's set in the Caribbean. And they're not in order, by the way. And the same with the media mysteries. They're standalones, but they're interconnected in a way.
Mhm.
The media mysteries are. And so
Yeah.
there's resorting to murder, resorting to larceny, resorting to fraud, and resorting to arson.
And they connect up pretty well. Then you break off totally. Okay, that's your murder set. So, I mean, your mystery sets, but you go into something totally different, nonfiction, really, into the Rumble Strip series. Now, that really caught my attention, honestly. So, you started out there with Rumble Strip. I like that name. Canada 150. That's their not the road. That's like their 150th anniversary thing, isn't it?
That's right. Yes, that's exactly right. And that one started out as a project that my husband David and I got into when Canada, we're both Canadians. Originally, we live in the States now. And Canada was celebrating its 150th anniversary. So we decided for a project, we wanted a project, and we both love to road trip. We travel by car a lot and love cars and that. And so we decided we would drive from the East Coast to the West Coast on an uninterrupted trip. Well, there were actually lots of interruptions, but it was not sort of, okay, we'll go do this road now, and then we'll go and do that road, and so on. We sort of, we'll do this. I think it took us 3 weeks, if I recall. It was 2017. And and we were living in Savannah at the time. So we drove north to Canada, but then we realized we were like three-quarters of the way across Canada. We weren't actually on the East Coast. So we went out to St. John's, Newfoundland, and dipped our foot in the water, and then drove from St. John's, Newfoundland across to Victoria, BC, in that year to celebrate that. So, and I mean, I like to relax. I do lots of things to relax, but I'm always writing. And my background, as I mentioned before, is in journalism. So nonfiction is an easy one for me,
Hmm.
familiar one. And so I thought I can't just sit here for 3 weeks straight and not do anything. I have to do something. So I had my little notebook and my pen and kept notes all along the way and reflections and observations. And so in a funny space as far as travel books go because it's not a guidebook. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's kind of in the space in between, and I think of them as souvenirs. So I do get souvenirs. I buy mugs and I buy fridge magnets, but also these books are my souvenir of that trip. So
Oh, so that was your first one. Then you did, and that was a long trip. Gosh, was it 4 or 5 thousand miles? I mean, you were traveling.
yeah.
Um, Rumble Strip USA off the interstate. That's backcountry roads.
It came about because we were working my husband and I were working as consultants, and he had a practice at the time as a marketing consultant and had a lot of clients in various places across the US. And we were being asked to go to them, and I do some media consulting, so we're doing that as well. And again, a sort of like, I need to make better use of this time. I was seeing and it was fascinating. So we made a habit of every time we were in a city, if say we had to go to Cincinnati or whatever, we would make sure that we took a day trip or even a weekend trip, and I would research which highway we would use and what we would see there. And sometimes we picked the roads because the highway was just so interesting. Sometimes it was because there was something on the side of the road, like there's a bicycle, and I've forgotten now, but I'd have to go back and reread the book. There's a bicycle museum. I think it's in Michigan. We've got to go see the bicycle museum. That sounds cool. So it's a collection of, and 25 of the states are covered in that book. So I still have this sort of unfinished project of what about the other 25? We have been to all 50 states, but I haven't written about them all yet. So.
Now, Rumble Strip Europe. Now, that's a different can we live there type of thing. And you were looking at moving to Europe, weren't you?
We thought about it seriously and did a lot of research. And a big part of the research was just online and finding out which countries require which things and what's involved in moving. But also, to go and visit. I should jump to the last page and say we didn't. So we live in the Pacific Northwest. We didn't move to Europe. And in the end, I've talked to various people about this. I'm not multilingual. So I have a little bit of French I can understand. I cannot understand Italian or Spanish, which were two of the countries that we were seriously looking at. So when we thought about it, in the end, I mean, we loved Italy. And if we could live there and everybody would speak French, English to us all the time, then absolutely. But I couldn't foresee living in a country where, oh, and this is a joke, by the way, but I couldn't foresee living in a country where I couldn't eavesdrop. I mean, if I'm sitting in a
I
cafe
know,
or in a
right?
library and people are chatting, I want to know what they're chatting about. So yeah, so in the end, that was the decision that we made. But it was a lot of fun during that time period. It was a 7 week trip in 2016, and we drove, through France and Italy and Spain and Switzerland, and that yes, those were the ones that we did in that trip.
Okay. And you've got a couple of there, Rumble Strip Benelux, and I wasn't sure what that was until I actually read, and I like that.
It's
Explain
cool,
that
isn't it?
one.
The way,
It
yeah,
is.
the way they've combined the word. I hadn't heard of it before I decided I wanted to go, and so I wanted to see Belgium, and so it's a combination mashup of Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg,
Hmm.
and Benelux is the region that they're all together. So that was we did that, and we drove through Belgium, which is a beautiful country. Really enjoyed that. And well, I love them all. That's also part of the problem. Europe, could I live there? Like where? I want to live pretty much
Yeah.
anywhere I've spent more than 2 nights. I think, oh, I could live here. This is really nice. But and the Netherlands, and saw Amsterdam, which was fascinating and a lifelong dream. I always wanted to see Amsterdam. And then Luxembourg, which was totally unknown to me, and also just a very beautiful little country. So we did that. And I say little because geographically it's little. I don't mean
Hmm.
to belittle it.
Belittle it.
Right, right. And then coming back, we decided we took a boat. So the book is called Benelux and a Boat, which you're supposed to call a ship, but I like the alliteration. So
Okay.
um, we did the research on the costs, because cost is always a factor on these things, and I sort of
Mhm.
juggling here and then found out that for the price there was some kind of deal on or whatever. Anyway, for the comparison of the price of flying back from Europe to Savannah, we could take a cruise ship. And so we took the Queen Mary 2, and which was fascinating. I'd never been on any cruise before, so that was really interesting to me because don't have a real lifelong history of boating and water. So to be out of sight of water or land for 9 days was interesting to me. I did in the end, I really enjoyed it.
Mhm. So, when you get your next book out, get a hold of me. Let me know. Okay. Might have to have you
Uh,
back just to say, hey, look, here's the newest one. We'll do that.
it's wonderful, and thank you so much, Strider, for inviting me in.
I want to thank you for your time. And until next time, I'm Strider, your host here at Author in the Headlights, sponsored by DurhamandPublishing.com. Check out all these books and authors at DurhamandPublishing.com's bookstore. And until next time.